The tension between Niger and Benin Republic is on the rise over border issues. Benin Republic has prevented its landlocked neighbour from using its port to start its first crude oil export to China in a deal worth $400 million. He added that Niger could not fully reopen its borders with Benin over security reasons, making the situation even worse. Niger's Prime Minister on Saturday said that the blockade violates trade agreements between the two countries and Niamey's Chinese partners. So stay with us as we talk more about this topic. So let's find out why Benin closed its borders on Niger Republic and then the potential impact on both countries. So, Benin has stopped Niger from using its ports to export its first crude oil, and President Patrice Talon's government is demanding Niger to reopen its side of the border if he wants to use Benin's ports. President Talon accused Niger of treating its neighbor as an enemy. Relations between the two nations soured after the military staged a coup on Niger last year. Benin and other West African nations imposed various sanctions on Niger in a bid to force the military government to hand over power to the duly elected government of Niger. By February this year, the sanctions by Ecowas were eased, with the expectations that trade relations with Niger would normalize, but Niger has refused to reopen its borders back to Benin Republic. The president has accused Niger of not cooperating enough to restore ties between the two nations. He said, and I quote, "If you want to load your oil in our waters, you must consider that Benin is not an enemy country and that its territory cannot be the subject of illicit trafficking or informal exchange. If tomorrow the Nigerian authorities decide to collaborate with Benin in a formal manner, the boats will be loaded." He also said that the refusal of Niger to open its border is really hitting the transport and economy of Benin Republic. But Niger's junta is yet to respond to any of his comments. The move by Benin Republic puts Niger's plan to begin oil exporting at risk. The country has been producing about 20,000 barrels of oil per day, mainly for domestic consumption due to lack of an export route. Following the completion of the Chinese-built 2,000-kilometer-long pipeline through Benin Republic, production was set to rise by about 110,000 barrels. This dispute disregards the project and is affecting the relations between the two nations who were close partners before the coup in Niger. Hervé Akinocho, the director of the Center for Research and Opinion Poll in Benin, said the country would lose about $7 million daily from oil transit fees that Niger would have paid. It is also said that Benin is suffering bigger losses from Niger's decision to keep the borders closed. Most of Niger's imports and exports passed through Benin before the coup, but this is now happening through alternative routes, like Togo's port of Lomé and Burkina Faso, which were considered complicated and unsafe due to Islamic insurgency in Burkina Faso. Despite the risk, Niger continued to shift its imports through Burkina Faso and establish cooperation with the country's military leaders who have ruled since a violent coup in January 2022. Niger and Benin need each other. The port of Cotonou wants to continue to handle imported goods for Niger, and Niger urgently needs to pump its crude oil through Benin territory towards Cotonou to prevent national bankruptcy. In this respect, it's very welcoming that both countries, apart from the hostile rhetorics, are actually coming together again with the mediation of the Chinese. Niger, Benin, and China attach great importance to the oil business. In April 2024, the representatives of each of these countries celebrated the completion of the pipeline as a forward-looking project. The pipeline stands as a future of prosperity and independence from the usual partners, such as France and Western Europe.